This was the paper article that was running in the paper recently about some of the stuff that's going on. I have better photos of it as well.
Great. And are these things that I can have copies of?
Yeah, I think you can, because I have the original somewhere else.
Okay.
That is on the original time capsule that was dug out of the cornerstone here at the building. These are the photos of when that was dug out. Here I am with the owner of the property, as well as my father and another operator. And we dug the original time cornerstone out with the time capsule in it. Here is time capsule that was in it.
What was in the time capsule?
Books, newspapers, and a letter from Dorothea Dix on the founding of the building.
Okay, great. Can we put these in your car?
Here.
Or can you carry them for me? So do you want to say a few introductory words here, or should we go in a little bit before you start talking about it? Maybe let's go in and have a more picturesque spot.
Yeah, that's what I was
saying. Lighting is low inside, that's the only thing.
That's all right, I have a light on the camera, and Kent has a light with him too. Sure.
Carl.
Hey.
But tell it close to tent so you can keep it up on the microphone.
My friend Jess was here, and when she was here, there was this spot on the floor. It was full of blood, like blood stain. This is true. And then there's a dress next to it, and she took the dress home to wear it.
My story doesn't have any blood in it, so I don't know if it's as good. My sister was here, and they were in one of the buildings, and they thought they heard somebody walking upstairs, and then all the doors and the floor above them closed, one right after the other, so it kind of went. Pretty scary.
The Amish, time capsules, and insane asylums. Oh my!
The one time I tried to get in here, I tried to come up from above and park by that playground that's up there.
This is crazy. We've been talking about coming here for like ever since I got wrong.
We parked up the playground and we were getting ready to walk in from that way, and like the security guard came and was like, "You're not thinking about going into the hospital now, are you?" Like, "No, we were just smoking cigarettes and using the sliding board."
Rita Rodentia. Can you state your name, please? For the record, it's Zach Jones.
So that's the power plant.
Yeah, that building there with the smokestack. This is the water cauldron that they had used they would refine the water in. That was ultimately steamed to power and heat the entire building. This is the control building for the power plant, and that's the monitoring station for the river and the power plant itself. Down there.
When I came here, we went up these really creepy stairs in the woods.
They're way over there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Those go
That
down
was
to
just a-
65.
Yeah.
That was just like a totally cool way to come here, because it was like these creepy stairs. And you get to the top, and there's like Dixmont staring down at you, just like.
Yeah. it was on one of the landings of those stairs down there that the building was originally founded in 1859.
And you were the mastermind behind the Dixmont time capsule project? Yes, I had put it together over the course of the last 2 or 3 months.
Those stairs are creepy as hell.
Yeah.
So you found the cornerstone?
Yeah. The cornerstone was actually in the northwest corner of the building, which is a little uncommon. Normally the cornerstone is put in the northeast corner. That's the way the Masons have done it for 1,000 years, 2,000 years.
But it was in the northwest corner.
Uh-huh.
I know, like other people that have been looking for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you wouldn't have just randomly found it. I mean, it was buried in the wall. We had to have a backhoe to dig the stone out. So.
How did you figure out where it was?
To be honest, it was pretty trial and error by that point. I mean, we looked in the northeast corner originally.
How did you figure out to look in the northeast? Oh, it was in the northwest corner.
Yeah, well, I mean, the northeast corner is where the Masons have always put cornerstone, is because the north is intelligence and the east is new beginnings and horizons. So that's where things are, you know, sort of founded and laid. The northeast corner is always the first stone laid. But for whatever reason, they put it in the northwest corner. I'm guessing it's because the building doesn't seem to have been founded by Masons. The Masons didn't have any record of this building in their, like, archives, so they obviously didn't build it, or at least as far as they know. So it would make sense that it wouldn't necessarily go with the standard Masonic convention.
First, can you give some background information on what Dixmont was? Dixmont is an old state mental hospital in the Pittsburgh area. It was founded in 1859 by Dorothea Dix, who was a major psychological reformer at the time for how mental patients and people with other disabilities were handled and treated in general. People were just sort of thrown into asylums and otherwise treated very, very cruelly before that. Not even necessarily drugging them into a point of sedation, people were treated inhumanely at best. People were abused regularly, raped. It was a very, very yucky state to be in a mental hospital. Mental hospitals were much more dangerous to be in than prisons, as far as I understand. The thing about Dorothea Dix was that her philosophy was that if people could live anything close to a normal lifestyle, normal as compared to the way everyone else lived, doing regular jobs, anything that they were capable of, then it would keep them as healthy as possible and maybe even lead to some sort of state of reform. A lot of what she did at Dixmont was to make the property as sustainable as possible. There were orchards and fields that grew fruits and vegetables. Ultimately, as many of the resources they could provide and do on site they did. Dorothea would import fabrics and whatnot for people that could sew, and they would make clothing. Not necessarily that everyone would use it. It was giving people things to do. If someone was good at something and they could do it, and gave them any sort of normal lifestyle whatsoever, she encouraged it. So mental patients would work in the butchery and even prepare the food for the other patients. Those that were stable and able to cook would do so. They were even allowed to use butcher knives and other equipment that would be considered totally dangerous today. If there was a patient that was stable enough to leave the grounds to assist another nurse in bringing back or assisting with any sort of task they could. Whatever a patient could handle that they felt safe letting that patient do, they encouraged. The hospital went on for 130 years or so before it was shut down in 1984. Over that time, there was a lot of development on the Dixmont grounds. Now it's being demolished. This is 2002. It's to be demolished and turned into a commercial venture.
This is the sewage treatment plant. It was put in like 1940, 1950, something like that. Pretty recent. Sorry, what?
I was going to ask you, how did you figure out that it was stuck in the wall over there? Did you figure it out, or did you actually just kind of come across it?
Well, I mean, we knew that it was somewhere because the original documentation for the building had said that there was a time capsule in the cornerstone.
Yeah, that's I knew.
But I mean, that stone was larger than any of the others, and it was more well cut than any of the others. Had better sort of chiseling on and whatnot, and it was clearly manufactured much better whenever they'd cut it, you know.
I remember when you took us through a tour of Dixmont, there was a huge ballroom and a theater space. Yes, that's true. Even in the arts, patients were allowed to sculpt and paint. There were stages for acting and recitals and other sorts of things with a creative nature.
Was this place slated for destruction?
June 1. June 1st.
And then they're gonna build the biggest Walmart in the whole country. Super, super
biggest
Is that
Walmart.
one going to be built by the Masons?
Yeah. It is fact that Walmart is not a Masonic institution.
It isn't.
Nope.
Okay.
It is not. Masons do not sit on the controlling stock
Or so
of
they
Walmart.
tell you.
When did Dorothea die? I'm not really sure. I know she was in her late 20s to early 30s when Dixmont was founded, so that was 1859. Given an 80 to 90 years top lifespan, maybe 1910-ish.
The building up here is one of the first buildings, the one that we're coming up to here. This is one of the first buildings ever constructed on the property, even before the main building was built. It was sort of where they held the construction supplies and whatnot for the original building when it was all started. It later got turned into a gym and other sorts of like, what do you want to call it? Exercise room type of thing where the patients could play, you know, basketball, other games like that. It's the coolest building in my opinion. It's all stone, has these huge round windows, openings in it that have been bricked up. They're so cool.
What was it, abandoned?
84.
84.
So Dixmont went on well after she died. Why did they close it? Oh yeah, it went on a good 60 years or so. They closed it mainly due to changes in medical reform. The laws and insurance that goes along with how hospitals have to be run got changed. Patients weren't allowed to do things like handle knives. And then other labor laws got passed that said patients couldn't do work. So they couldn't go out and harvest fruit that they then ate because that was slave labor. Once the patients couldn't work, the hospital was no longer sustainable because the patients were the main people that kept it running. After that, the hospital had to survive off of government subsidy. The hospital was so large because it had taken in so many people since it was so highly functional and successful. It kept taking more and more people and adding more and more wings, and then lost all sustainability when the patients were no longer allowed to work, and within about 10 years it fell almost into ruins. Disprofitability. Patients started filtering off to who knows where. It's all probably in the books at this point.
Why did they close the place down? It's not funny. Reagan era cut.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, the place is massive. I mean, we won't be able to go through all of the main building today because there's just too much there. I mean, I've spent a day in here where I got here at like, you know, 8, 9 in the morning and went through that building, and I could not get through all of it before it got dark. It's just too big. But yeah, it's just a massive, massive building, and I don't know what, they probably started putting more people that were unwell, quote unquote, on drugs and whatnot, and they could, you know, function easier, and mental patients just seemed to decline, I guess, over time. So eventually they closed in 84 because there was so little, you know, support and whatnot for it. It also got too much to manage. There was too much overhead to pay for it, because originally when they founded Dixmont, the patients used to do a lot of the work. They used to prepare most of their food. They used to gather food from the orchards and whatnot, and the place was really self-sufficient. And then that stopped, I forget when, sometime in the early 1900s, whenever some law thing got passed that said that you couldn't make patients work. You know, like patients couldn't do any labor, they just had to sit in their rooms and not do anything. And once that went around, then the place had to support itself with external workers and regular funding and everything else, and pretty much went downhill from there. But it's also full of asbestos, and once they passed the regulations on asbestos, everything went to shit.
So much in schools, though.
Will you explain your connection with the building? Welp, Ralph Stroney, the guy who owns the property, was a friend of the family, and whenever he had started to get into the commercial development of Dixmont, he knew from the records that there was a time capsule in the cornerstone. So he wanted to find where the cornerstone was, and he asked for me and my father's help. After about a few weeks of searching, we found it and dug the time capsule out of the cornerstone that was in the northwest corner of the building. It wasn't where it should have been. The masons normally placed the time capsule or cornerstone in the northeast corner out of tradition. What we found was the masons had not built this building, so what corner it was in was kind of uncertain. We eventually, by happenstance, found it and dug it out. It was in a stone that was 2 foot square by 4 feet long. It was a massive piece of block. It had a rectangular hole cut down into it for a cylindrical glass jar which contained books, newspaper articles, and there was a letter from Dorothea Dix. All that was recovered and sent to Carnegie Museum to be restored.
I wanted to turn the place into a bondage and S&M club. Do you think like people would come from the bondage and S&M club that used to be an insane asylum? Like think of the fetishism going on with that one.
It could just be a place where they performed Marat Sod over and over again.
What did the letter say? I'm not really sure. The museum might have it. The books were only significant because they were in the time capsule. The information is already archived in other places. Once I helped Stroni dig that out, he started informing me of what was going on with the property. The major thing he told me was that between the power plant and the main building, there was a 1/4-mile-long tunnel that held steam pipes to heat the main buildings. That is something I'd always known was down there, but what he told me was that the tunnel was going to have its ends capped with cement and was going to be buried in the hillside whenever they filled the property in. It occurred to me, having just dug out a time capsule out of the hillside, having a whole tunnel that's going to be buried away as a cavity in the hillside would be a cool place to put a new time capsule.
I don't know what your plan would be. The easiest way to get into the tunnel proper.
Well, I thought we might
What do you want to do?
at least get a rough tour of the inside of some of the buildings before we went into the tunnel, since the buildings are going to be destroyed.
Okay.
You know, we'll have a lot more time for the tunnels.
Is
So,
this the main building?
if there's a main building where we could go
Yeah.
to where people's rooms have been and things like that.
Did you grow up exploring Dixmont? Yeah. The Dixmont property goes into an area called Ohio Township, which is up on top of the hill past Emsworth and Tz'Akh. Ohio Township is where I spent most of my childhood growing up. I'd spent a lot of time around that area and had been through Dixmont. That whole area back there is practically conservancy. It's more or less unreachable, pretty nestled away. I think Dixmont is 410 acres, and I think that over 100 was sold off for this commercial project. I'm not sure what they are doing with the rest.
The Mason's down on Walmart.
What's that weird like prefabricated addition on the side?
What over there?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a connecting hallway that ran to the back set of buildings. Because this is the main building up here. It had, I think, 7 additions put on it before it was finally closed, stopped, whatever. But behind it, we'll try to go back there quickly today. Up on the other hillside up there, there's another line of buildings that was built, I don't know, probably in the middle 1900s, 1940 or 50 or so. That has basically like a ballroom, lunchroom type of thing.
That must be what my sister heard.
Yeah, the doors blowing in the wind.
Yeah, well, there's also
Whoa, look at that one done.
homeless people that have lived in here for a while, you know, and it's like, and you can hear them walking through, because they'll walk through and they'll close doors behind them, you know, whatnot, and it's like, well, people live in there, deal with it. You know? But
I hate the idea of them tearing away that beautiful, peaceful area. Most people agree that putting a Walmart there is pretty stupid. It's one of the most wonderful natural settings that's in that area because the property was maintained for so long, 150 years at least.
But yeah, there's a back set of buildings that used to be like cafeteria, lunchroom stuff, whatever. And they used to have the patrons just walk out of the main building and go back to that building, and then somewhere along the way, they nixed that and they put in a walkway sort of thing that goes over, so.
So are they not going to put a Walmart there? That's not the official word. Walmart is having a lot of trouble getting their site in.
Wow, that's a pretty nice
Yeah, it's.
tour.
I wanted that, but I didn't get salvage rights for that one.
When's the Walmart coming?
I don't
Yeah, you
know.
had salvage rights to everything.
Most everything. I'm not allowed to take large quantities of stone without permission, like out of the walls of buildings. I can't take that front railing because some guys purchased it already. And there's something else, I forget what. If you look at the top of the building, it's burned. The place was set fire to in, I think, 94, 95, something like that. Arson. The building, so.
So people are opposing it? They're in the middle of several lawsuits now. That doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. There is a lot of resistance. I do know that the control of the property was supposed to change on June 1st, 2002 to the developers, which I believe is ASI Developers Tony Chama's group. They were supposed to go in on June 1st and do demolition and construction, but that's when the tunnel was going to be sealed up. So I asked Droney about it because I wanted to film it, and he said there was going to be at least another 60 days of litigation before that would ever begin to happen. So there's still a lot of opposition, and for a variety of reasons. It's not the best area to be putting a Walmart in for a number of reasons. One is just that it will cause a lot of congestion on the boulevard. No matter what way you cut it, it's not a very easy place to get to. It's not really something for a high traffic sort of influx. The other problem is, it's sort of hidden away, so identifying that region with a Walmart will not be easy to do. Walmart would have to cut away more hillsides to put giant signs by the road and other things that would just make the situation more and more ridiculous. And if they were to do that, they would still be competing with Robinson Town Center, Bellevue, and Sewickley for market on how they would attract people. So even if they were to bring in jobs, they might not last 10 years, so there's a lot of question on whether it's worth even doing.
But yeah, this is the main Dixmont building here. This is like proper front entrance stuff, whatever.
Shall we enter through there then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll go in over on the side here.
Awesome. I hope they decide not to do it. So can you tell me how you told people about the Time Capsule project? Well, I had at first contacted a few different groups that organize graffiti and mural artists. Graffiti.org and artcrimes.com were the two main sites I went to, since they do a lot of organization for muralists and other street painters in the continental United States. So I had posted information about the project 3 months in advance and actually got quite a good deal of contact. More than 50 people had contacted me initially, and those 50 people had spoken for as many as 150 people. So there was really quite a bit of interest. It seemed to spark something with a lot of people from a lot of different regions. I felt like I did very little other than be a spoke or a hub for the project, and it was amazing what people invested in and how many people were really excited about the project. I got a lot of local and national support.
You going into this building?
How many people ended up participating? That was the funny thing. Most of the people that showed up had not contacted me in advance, and most of the people that contacted me did not show up. So it was really strange how it all went down.
No Nazis.
SBC Army. What's that? Oh, it's a dead Kennedy symbol. Isn't it?
Oh, scheiße. I didn't bring my flashlight.
I can put on a flash whenever you... I can put on the light whenever you need it.
Where do you want to go?
Wherever Zach takes us.
What kind of stuff did people do? People actually did wider variety than what I had expected. I expected a lot more graffiti and muralists to come, and maybe a little more than half did graffiti and murals. A lot of people that come did sculptural work. Some folks did mosaics on the wall out of miscellaneous materials. Some people did glass work. They put in glass pieces that had been sandblasted and whatnot. The piece that I put in was a piece that had been etched into a plate of glass. The guy that I had been doing the work with had brought down some of his own glass work. Some people had paintings they had done on canvas. Some people had left miscellaneous things in the tunnel as some sort of remainder. Even the people that did graffiti work didn't do tags or their names. This one guy, his father had worked at Dixmont for about 20 years, and he left a sort of memorial to his dad, who had died in 1999. It was really, really cool to see. You'd walk by it, and it immediately struck you what it was. It was a really, really quieting piece. There was a mural that a couple of people put in that was about 40 feet long. It was people's tag names, and there was a picture of the cork factory.
So, the other reason this area is really cool, I don't know if you'll be able to pick it up with the camera, but there's this big compass rose on the floor here. It's all made out of stone. Kind of neat.
Graffitied over.
Yeah. This place has been heavily graffitied over the past years. And I'm surprised. I mean, they stopped using in 1984. That was, what, 16, 18 years ago? I guess 18, 20 years is a while, but this place is pretty fucking ravaged, you'll see. I'm kind of surprised it got this bad. That's the way we did.
I think it was bad when I was here. Like, construction workers doing stuff?
Not doing demolition, but no.
I feel like there were windows when I was here.
Maybe you're in a different building.
No, we were in this building. I just feel like there was like a lot of windows that we couldn't get through this time.
Oh yeah, that's the graffiti warehouse down in the Strip. Yes, it was a picture of that with some information about it, a reference to this other spot where graffiti was being down in the area. It was a large collage of things that were endemic to the people that painted it. It was so large, and they covered every square inch.
So these people's rooms?
Some of these were rooms, not many. but
This
some.
room is beautiful. I love it.
Have a seat in the chair, Etta.
Look at those shelves.
How do you like living here, Etta?
It's fine. Maybe I can take a picture of Zach in here. Hey, Zach!
Zach, Etta wants to take a picture of you in the chair.
It's a nice hallway. You can do nice shots of people running in there. Zach, can I take a picture of you in the chair?
You were telling me about the piece that you did was some sort of tracking system. Knowing that the tunnel would be sealed, but that there would be work and intention put there, I wanted a way for the tunnel to breathe. I wanted to create a portal that the tunnel could project out through, and people could project back into that space and be able to understand the work that was put in there. So I created a portal with associated telemetry for the space and time location that the portal had been set at. I left it in the tunnel basically as a doorway so that people could get in and the work could get back out.
You don't have to worry about getting my shot for someone documenting you guys. Like, actually, great.
Yeah, these were all patient rooms here for the most part. I know it's like most of the building is patient rooms, you'll find as you're going around. I mean, there are some rooms that were clearly used as like bathrooms, washrooms of one sort or another, or little storage closets, but I mean, really, just about every room we're going to come across is patient housing, storage, grooming, whatever, of one form or another. The patients were allowed to walk the hallways. The rooms were really, really tiny, and they were pretty much where patients slept, and that was about it. And other than that, the patients were allowed to come out and walk up and down the hallways. These fire doors here were locked during the day so that patients couldn't get out, you know, and like go run around and do whatever craziness. But they were allowed to basically hang out in the hallway. And some of the upper floors, the hallways walls are painted with pictures of people and stuff like that, you know, that were obviously put on there. Some of the patients were allowed to walk the grounds earlier in the day or whatever, back when Dixmont was first founded. And like I said, there was orchards and there was all sorts of places, and they used to get pretty far. I mean, places even maybe as far as a half-mile away whenever you go up the hill. Sometimes patients would make it all the way up there, but there used to be some sort of like warning siren, like a buzzer type of thing. I never heard it, obviously, but I remember my parents went on telling me that they used to remember that at around, I think, 7 o'clock or something, it was sometime earlier in the day, the patients would be signaled to come back in. There would be this like warning siren, it'd be like, "Wah," something like that, and it was like the buzzer or the siren for all the patients to come back to the hospital. And for the most part, they did or something, I guess. But it was just kind of strange to like think that you're growing up in a time where like you'd hear a noise and it's like, oh, that's the buzzer for the mental patients to go back to the hospital. You know, it's not something we quite have anymore. It's kind of interesting.
Should we go up the floor then?
Yeah, I don't know. Where did everybody else go?
Edda! What'd she say?
She's gonna make a flip book.
We should try to keep people somewhat together.
Yeah.
Just for politeness for those owning this place and whatnot. It's pretty cool that they've let us do what we're doing here, and I'm trying not to make anyone too edgy.
Yeah.
With lots of people just running around.
Well, when we gather them up again, just make a point of that to them. Edda, where are you? Zach wants us all to stay together.
Roughly.
I'm not bugging you. I couldn't hear what you said.
I'm making a flip book.
Yeah, I heard what you said the
Okay,
second time.
so it's gonna take me just.
Check.
Ron and Erok! Well, the last time I saw them, they were down this way, so I suppose if we
Yeah,
continue this way, we'll probably find them.
I think I remember them saying that they wanted to go up to the second floor. I was
Yeah.
just hoping that they would.
They've
chill.
both been here before. I can hear them.
Yeah, precisely.
So what's telemetry? Telemetry is basically numeric for geometry, which locates something within a particular reference of space and time. So the piece I made, I had designed an egg shape, which were the dimensions of the tunnel from ceiling to floor and wall to wall. I created an egg form. Egg forms are created as a function of phi geometry, which is like hurricanes and whirlpools and other sorts of true spiral motion. If you intersect such geometry at any given angle, it creates a pure egg form. I had figured out the dimensions of the tunnel and used that to extrapolate what a pure egg form would be based upon a geometric model of phi dynamics. I had etched that into a plate of glass along with the associated compass markings that you could recreate something at any size given a basic ruler or straight edge or a compass. From that which was the cross location of its position spatially, I had placed a date key which was based on the Mayan Tz'Akh, which was the calendar of people in Central America. It's the most accurate astronomical calendar we have on the Earth right now because it was based on true movements of visible celestial objects in the night sky. It's more accurate than the Gregorian or Julian calendars that we tend to use in our society. I had used the Tz'Akh because it's based on true astronomical cycles, so any future peoples that would come that would see the tunnel, once they saw the Mayan Codex on there and cross-located that to what position the Tz'Akh it occurred within, they could figure out at least within a rough scale, within a 26,000 year period, when the tunnel had been set at. So it would give a general idea, at least, what position within the larger temporal cycles of the solar system when the piece had occurred.
I think they should just put the Walmart in here without changing anything else.
Hey Ted, can you move a little bit to the right? Sorry.
Walmart.
Yeah, Walmart. They should just leave the things that are for sale laying around on the floor.
Doesn't sound like Ron.
It does sound like that.
Can you...
What do you want?
This hallway.
Where's the nearest stairway, Zach?
Right down here.
Okay. Is it board? Can you get the board off?
Wait, there's a board nailed across.
No, go around. Or
Is there an entrance in close by?
Go out through the windows and come in over here. Isn't there a window? All right, we'll go up a stairway.
I am trying to be as careful with the information that we have to work with the property as possible.
Understood.
Hey, Jeff, you want some?
Ron's been trying to eat all the paint.
I came here to eat paint. I figured, like, in the tradition of a good insane style, that I should be here doing something equally insane, like eating the lead paint chips.
So can you guys stay together with us? Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
I won't spank you, but Zach might, so.
It's Ron's fault. He made me.
I was going to make paint chip soup, and all the good paint chips were upstairs.
How can you tell which ones were the good paint chips and which ones were the bad ones?
Well, it's by color, you know, just like you can tell ripe fruit by its color. Well, ripe paint chips have a certain color that you can...
Really?
Yeah, these ones
Explain
aren't
these.
right.
No?
No, the ones upstairs are right.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you mash them up, what you do is that when you want to make lead paint soup, you take some of the lead paint, you push it, put it in a bowl, and kind of crush it down like that. And then everybody stands around the lead paint, spits in the bowl, and then you stir it up really good. And then by the time you're done, you've got a nice paste of saliva and lead paint. So, it's something to do on a cold winter's day such as this one.
Whoa! Can you clarify some things for me? Phi dynamics? Phi is a Greek character that is spelled phi in English. It is one of two numbers that we call transcendental numbers because they don't have an end. They are generally the only constant numbers that we have, pi and phi. Pi, which is the metric for pure Euclidean mathematics, and phi, which is pure non-Euclidean mathematics, which is things that we have in nature. So it's things that curve off into infinity.
Hey man, check this out. I know you can easily just move that far from like something you can.
Sorry, I took so long.
Ron, you're a natural.
How do you move it to five? It's probably this way. Fuck it, you guys. Ski though.
I don't know if it's easy though.
Oh well, I've only got one whole film left.
There's a lot more Dixmont.
I'll be more,
Use it.
Okay, lead the way.
See, those are right paint chips.
wow, look at that wallpaper. Is it prison?
It's a painting.
See, these paint chips over here are right. My father was a paint chip professor too.
Women's corridor, maybe? The walls are pink.
Oh my god, a pot holder maker.
Huh?
It's like a pot holder maker. You ever make ice making stuff like it? This is so 80s.
Whoa, hey, there's a kitchen.
So I questioned Zach about the Tz'Akh calendar and tell him about the color-coded system the Russians tried out, which you can read about following this article. This spawned a few calendar factoids. Whenever the Bolshevik Revolution had completed, the Russians were so far behind in their calendar because they hadn't been using Julian, which had been formulated in Europe in Greenwich. They had kept on with Gregorian calendar, which slips off of the true measurements of what's happening in the universe in periodic segments about every 300 years. They had been using it for so long in that area that whenever the Bolshevik Revolution had finished, it was January 30th of 1918, they resynchronized the following day for the Julian calendar that had been used in Europe, so that January 31st of 1918 was then followed by February 14th of 1919. So they lost 1 year and a month because they were so far off of base in their calendar measurement. In relation to color code systems, there was a slight push for color code systems in the US a number of times. One was with the speed limit signs. Instead of having red belts and blue belts, it wasn't going to be for mapping, it was going to be for speed limits. So there would be a green speed, red speed, blue speed, yellow speed, purple speed, whatever, and the dial in your car would be just a rainbow. So as long as you were close to the color band on your speedometer, you were okay because you were driving the proper speed. That got nixed, but I'm not sure why. I'm sure it was probably just too progressive. They also tried to push the color money system here in the US, which was heavy conspiracy stuff back in the 80s. They were supposed to color code all of the money. It almost went through. You could research whatever it is, you look up bills. It's why the $1 bill is called the greenback, because it was going to stay green. There was going to be blue, red, orange, yellow, a whole spectrum of colors, and you could just have colors, no numbers. You would need a certain number of them to buy products, like you'd need 3 reds to buy whatever.
Is it hard to get permission to come in?
I don't really know. I put that in, so I agree with me. Yeah, I do. No,
Our family is friends with the owner,
Oh, I see.
so I don't quite know how hard it would normally be to get permission to do anything like this, especially in a space like this. I'm imagining ridiculously hard because the liability is probably pretty high. You know, it's like if someone gets hurt here, that would be a very bad thing.
I'm doing everything I can to avoid any humidity smell like that. This is one of the first floors that we are. We'll go upstairs, it's really cool. There's an elevator.
She's behind us.
Down here!
I didn't know there was so many black portions.
Sex Pistols received. Oh, nice. There's
School sucks.
your mom and then before.
Oh my god.
I found the room over there where the orderlies gang rape.
I'm gonna erase this Nazi sign.
Yeah? Does it have a sign on the door that announces that that's what its purpose
I
is?
could just tell.
I'm wiping out Nazis.
Yeah!
Why were they going to do this? I'm not really sure. I think it was just a general psychological framing. It's easier for people to see and remember colors than to have numbers and be 25.68 instead of just having 2 reds. But there was a lot of resistance against it for reasons like it became too easy to sort of arbitrarily screw people. There were too many variations unless you were doing 2 reds, 3 blues, an orange, and a white or something like that. And at that point you were basically using the same money system we have now. You were only substituting colors. Most of the push to change was mainly social, and this is where the conspiracy theories come in. It was like you'd start to get red people and orange people, and blue was some of the highest bills. So if you were a blue person, you were obviously very rich because all of your bills were blue. So you went to blue events and could drive at blue speeds or whatever it came down to. It turned into social classes very obviously. It was too obvious of a form of control to push.
This is like a classroom.
This is where you teach the crazy people to not be crazy.
So Zach, where are you?
He turned back that way. I just came into this room, but he was going back this way.
So tell me stories about like
This
this.
is where several patients hung themselves. I'll give you the history of this place as I fabricate it. Unlike Zach,
I don't know-
knows the
I don't
history
know
of the
any
place. I don't know anything, so I just make things up
Or any stories?
based on my past life recollection.
All of the stories of
They're like
people being
coming back
abused
to me
and
right
stuff like
now.
that in Dixmont are totally wrong.
Really?
Yeah, there was never like shackles in the basement or
Yeah.
stupid shit like that.
So rumors
Yes.
perpetuated by Hollywood, no less.
No doubt.
And re-perpetuated here.
This is the room where they had the dance parties, right?
No, you should see the room where they had the dance parties.
Really? This looks like a dance. This looks like
No,
Laga.
you just wait, Brian.
This looks like
They had like the
Laga.
biggest dance party room this side of the Montefiore.
We're kind of passing it on Gila.
That's what I'm saying, this side of the Montefiore. We got to go on some side of it.
True.
Yeah, so my friend never hasn't like called me or anything.
Yeah, I know.
He's our investigative journalism.
I have it on sync, which means that it goes on when it's dark and goes off when it's not dark.
Same quality, ours
I love the wall paint noise.
Ron keeps trying to eat it.
Same as the second. There's a really neat shot of the smokestack and
That's the spot where they made the people that thought they were pirates walk the plank.
Fascinating. Okay, back to Dixmont. So we don't know if the tunnel will be sealed now? Well, I'm keeping in touch with Stroni every week. There is still more documentation that I want to see done.
one of my favorite music.
You want to go in there?
Hey, you could use this for your last. I was telling Kent that like a lot of these places like this one are where the doctors, like in
awesome
order to
to do,
cure
like, a
patients
Scooby-Doo,
that thought they were pirates,
whenever they're running.
would make them walk planks out of high places, and when they'd hit the ground, it would break the illusion that they were really pirates. This was a tried and tested method in the 1920s done by a behaviorist in the vein of that Watson guy, the one that used to torture babies and like. gongs and conditioned him to be afraid of rabbits. Or like one of his ancestors, predecessors, not predecessors. What do you call that? The person
Predecessor.
after.
Oh,
Or the person after them.
followers, perhaps.
Followers. Yeah, the other ones that used to make them.
Where to next?
When I was in the tunnel, I met a ghost hunter. Do you know them? Are you a ghost hunter? What's the deal with the ghost hunters? I am not affiliated with that group. I do know them. The ghost hunter groups, not just those here in Pittsburgh, are part of a larger group, the skeptics groups. It's an international society. It's like ISS, International Society of Skeptics. And they are interested in questioning things that fall outside of the realm of normal science. Paranormal phenomena particularly, a lot of it goes into UFOs. Basically, every other high sci-fi conspiracy theory, all part of the skeptic group's mentality. Now, the Pittsburgh Ghost Hunter group, whatever they are, is part of that. Skeptics are all over the world. They have little segments like ghost hunter groups that go around and go into haunted houses and generally try to find and document to prove the existence of paranormal phenomena. It's things that you'll see on the Discovery Channel or the Learning Channel every now and then. You'll get a semi-scientific thing. They do generally pretty good research. They try to isolate electromagnetic phenomena and isolate hot and cold spots that move. It's pretty interesting, but they don't have much foundation or centering in any tradition. There's a lot of politics against them because they will go in and document things. But what they are documenting is supposedly people whose spirits are restless and unhappy, and that's why they can't leave this plane of existence. That is a general framework, and instead of trying to go and help those people on or something else to remedy the situation so it is not disturbed or haunting and otherwise causing problems in this plane, they just go and take pictures and tell everybody about it.
Can we talk about that some other time? I was doing Guitarist Anonymous stuff.
Whoa! Oh,
For the record, carefully. This was the area that was burned. Like, the floor could be unstable. I don't recommend.
You gotta take a picture and
I
say
don't
it's
recommend
like photos
aimless
from
wandering
Afghanistan.
up here. At least not without
yeah.
care. You can't get down this hallway. You should go up here and you should go up in this ladder,
Sure.
stair area here,
And you can
because
publish it in
the motor, the three-phase motor
Yeah.
generator for the elevators up there, is just a cool thing because they don't make shit like that
That's
anymore.
fucking dumb.
I think it would work. I'm into triggers like that.
Whoa.
Whoa.
It's scary up here.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys heard.
What is
like, be careful walking around. This is the area that was burned. Like, the floor could be unstable in different areas. So if you're just going to wander, place your feet carefully and test your weight first.
What was this? You know,
This was a fourth floor. This was like more rooming and stuff like that for rental patients.
Why is this hallway like so low though?
Because it goes over to the other side, and right above it is a shingle roof.
Uh-huh.
It's just a little hallway.
They did it on purpose. Careful walking around, fellas.
I'm not walking there. Be more careful than that, for instance.
As long as there's big houses.
Look, there's like trees growing over here.
Oh, there's one of those. This is nearly as dangerous as the South Side Police Station. It's like the most dangerous place I've been in.
Is there a society for the prevention of exploitation of ghosts? Well, Native Americans and Native Gypsy, whether they were from this country or came from overseas, have always been part of a people that have gone around and put restless spirits to sleep. Closed doorways of places that were open and that sort of thing. They don't have any respect for the ghost hunters that go in, and the ghost hunters know that they are small potatoes next to the native peoples. It's like the ghost hunters go in with all this elaborate equipment to determine whether there are ghosts there. Sometimes they will take physics with them. My experience with both groups is that the native peoples, or whomever goes in to try and quiet places down, seem to be much more centered and responsible in a space. Whereas the ghost hunters that go in seem to be very young attitude sort of people, trying to catch a ghost. They don't seem to have much respect for the space, and I'm not talking in a traditional sense. Their attitude is not very respectful to places they are going into, knocking on walls to find out if there is a colder spot. There's something that is odd about it that whenever you see it, you know what's up. So the ghost hunter people had gone into Dixmont a couple of times to catch red dots and white dots, things that moved throughout the air. They found a couple cold spots and got some video of red dots moving and white dots crossing different areas.
Have you been in the Southside Police Station?
I've been in the basement.
If you go upstairs, it's so scary. And like all the floors are collapsing. It's hitting you in the head. Like you gotta wait for the shit.
Yeah, I remember shit. I was down there with Sarah, and like also we got invasive all these bats flying around.
Those are pigeons.
No, they were bats.
They were bats.
Yeah, they're definitely bats. And like she's like, like she like the spirit bats.
Freaky.
Pretty freaky.
Batophobia.
Oh, she's freaking out.
Oh yeah. I keep doing SWAT team
And then he ate all the paint chips because he left to find more food.
All right, should we go to the tunnels?
You know,
Well, there's more.
You know, I
isn't there?
heard
Take us down and over to the ballroom, then down.
Okay, that sounds good. Maybe we can do a little dance party in the ballroom.
I heard that the fire here was started by the patients trying to imitate the Great Chicago Fire. Did you hear that?
I just heard it from you just now.
Do you think there's any truth to that story?
I think more likely they were imitators of the SPK,
The what?
the Socialist Patients Collective.
Which did.
They-
What's that have to do with fire?
They built bombs and blew themselves up in the mental institution that they were at.
Oh, they suffered from Louis Lingus.
Is that like
Where's
cunnilingus?
the patients that suffered from Louis Lingus? The urge to blow yourself up while in prison?
We were talking about Lingus. Were you there when we were talking about Lingus?
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
No, Louis Lingus.
It was a pun.
It is like fun.
Talking about this serpent.
So have you ever seen the movie Stalker?
No.
You should.
Oh, Stalker. Yes, of course.
Oh, him. Like, doesn't
Yeah.
he remind you of the dude from Stalker?
Zach?
Yeah.
Well, no, he doesn't actually at all.
Well, think of the plot of the movie and going through the zone.
What are these white dots of which you speak? Well, they are different colored dots, basically these glows of light that will be picked up on camera sometimes, and they are very anomalous, and generally do imply that there is something strange going on. You won't ordinarily see them until you look at the film later. Sometimes there will be bright washout areas as though the sun was shining on the camera when it was an overcast day. Usually they go in with these electromagnetic sort of graphing machines that pick up slight variations in the electromagnetic static of a room. A person walking across a room can cause heat and electromagnetic variations, so it's very difficult to do any real discernment, and the science that they go in there and use is really shoddy. It seems to be more for the good of the people who are going in rather than anything for the space. Yeah, we went in and filmed ghosts. Nevertheless, they do to take in people of a semi-sensitive nature, at least, who seem to have a good feel for the place. I don't totally want to discredit them and say that it has no use whatsoever, but there seems to be a lot of question as to their methods.
Pretend we're in the zone now. We're going to find the room. Use your imagination a little. Oh, these are really bright paint chips. Look, they're patriotic too. Patriotic paint chips, like these are sure to give you brain damage. People that bite patriotism, like really, really get a strong dose. Oh wow. You do eat too much patriotism, things start looking very
Erok, is that your dad?
Like, these people are your friends.
We're one happy, crazy family! Whoa. Is that the staff? This guy's got a good pose.
I bet it is the staff. Is it for real?
I think so.
Yeah.
Wrong one.
Wrong one?
Wrong one.
Uh-oh.
Hold on, wait.
What's that weird hallway?
Let me check to make sure where I am.
This is where we got popped.
Yeah.
Is it paint or snow?
There seems to be this whole urban lore that surrounds Dixmont. People I know have snuck in there, tried to spend the night in there, and love this place. It's a place that kids go. Well, think about it. It's mythology at its raw and finest. It's an old house. It's haunted. It's haunted because everyone knew that folks lived and died there. Everyone's quite aware of what went on there. The fact that it was an insane asylum, and of course people that are insane are automatically elevated to a near godlike status since they live permanently in an altered state of consciousness, which is something that we aren't allowed to do here socially in this country. Already it has several things going for it. And then it's abandoned, which means it's free stake. Anyone can go in and do whatever they want with it. They can spray paint on the walls, they can claim it for their own, they can rename it. The whole thing has a deep cultural mythology behind that everyone is intimately aware of. Plus, it's also something which is unsafe. You aren't allowed to have unsafe things. You aren't allowed to go somewhere where there are nails and ceilings that could collapse. So the fact that you are even in there, it's like this whole object that lies outside of the regular bounds of society. On a similar vein, there was a group, and what they were trying to do was construct a building and then give it to the public domain for no specific use. So that people could go in, they could paint it, they could vandalize it, they could knock down walls, they could build walls, whatever they want. It was a concept to try to create a truly autonomous space. It was a really fat idea, and I think basically they never got the money to be able to do it. Nobody wanted to give them money for a space that they have no control over by design.
This one's mine.
Is that Cotter?
This guy's kind of good too.
Oh, you got Cotter? Bubba nose up the hole. Bubba nose up the nose.
Somebody agrees with me. Glad to see it. Not enough paint chip years around here. Guar fans around. I can see Guar shooting a video here, don't you? I can see your mom shooting. Or no.
Talk about getting turned around. There's only one way, there's 4 different ways that you can get over to that building, and there's only one that's still left open presently. And
I'm telling you, Kent, it's just like the zone. The paths change, you know, it shifts around. The zones are in the same place twice.
Вот и он.
Я, разумеется, признателен, что вы только...
Как вы сюда попали?
Большую часть путя прополз на четвереньках.
Невероятно, но как удалось обогнать нас?
Как обогнать нас? Я вернулся сюда за рюкзаком.
А откуда здесь наша гайка? Мы... Это же ловушка.
Did the Soviet army try to blow this place up or something? I mean, I think you remember seeing it.
It's like sick. I saw this movie once, like Mel Brooks, High Anxiety, where there's like crazy patients in the corner. That's what that door reminded me.
Watch out for the windows here. Don't hit your face.
There are so many spaces that could be like that. On every street in this town, all these abandoned buildings. So part of the legal problem with it is that whenever a building falls out of use like that, particularly if it just falls into abandonment, it becomes a ward of the state. The state has all the tax rights to the land. So it becomes tax delinquent. Since the tax liens are in the ownership of the state, then the tax liens default a lien deed to the state and they get a title deed for it. Then they own it and it's their responsibility. Now generally they never take it to a title deed, they keep it as a lien deed, but even whenever they do that, they still have some general responsibility for it. In the legal framework, it ultimately has some framing of their ownership. So if someone is on the property and gets hurt, it's the state's responsibility, and of course the state does not want people running around in there, falling through floors, dying. The state doesn't like people doing that, so that's where the whole "you can't go in there" comes from.
Now you heard about that, right? No. Well, no.
Watch out for the windows.
They sent a whole Russian regiment into this place, and the whole
Oh, here it is. See, Ron?
This is where Martin Scorsese shot the ballroom scenes in Age of Innocence.
Really?
Yeah.
Dance.
Are you for real? I don't know what you're talking
No,
about.
he's not for real.
I'm making up a history of
But
the
dance. Dance for me.
Such a waste of space. Of course, if you own a building like that and people go onto it sort of like this autonomous building idea and somebody gets hurt and they want to sue you, they can. It would be very hard to create something that would be sue-proof. You can get sue-proof, but you'd have to have like 10-page waivers that are signed with official documents.
sticker says do not use after October 84.
What, the bathroom?
The bathroom.
When the patients used to die, they used to make soup out of it. This is where you crush up the paint chips. It's like instant mashed potatoes.
There's like this table here, and there's many of these over in that room over there too. And it's just like, you know, it's a food prep table. It's like if you had to prepare food for 150 people, how would you do it? You'd need a lot of shit.
Do you remember when I first met you? I asked you what other sorts of things you did besides explore abandoned mental institutions and dig up time capsules, and you replied with something about turning sound into light. Please explain. Yes, it was some of the research I was doing in my undergraduate degree. It's sort of an indeterminate field. At this point it's called sonoluminance. It's a phenomenon where technically the wording for it are acoustic mazing of a cavity suspended in a medium through resonance produces low-level nuclear fission which produces light. That's the blah blah blah. Basically what happens is, using specifically tuned sound waves with air and water, you can produce light inside of a jar. Basically the process is the same process which goes on in the center of stars, like the sun. It's acoustic nuclear fusion.
That's cool. That's Mark Dixon. That is Mark Dixon. I bet you.
Sure.
He makes his A's like that.
Just a triangle?
Yeah. I'm not sure. But, wow, look
I
at
heard
this
you wrote the
stage.
kind thing up.
Huh?
I heard you wrote the kind thing up.
No. Brian did. Mark has a like an article like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of it was written by Brian.
The bike thing.
Folk science is Mark.
Yeah. That's my favorite part of the book.
Moo!
That's interesting, because I work at the OmniMax now, and they have a movie there about the sun, Solar Max, and I get to watch it 3 or 4 times every time I work. They have all this footage of the sun. Everything you're about to see is real footage. The movie says the most amazing thing about the sun is that it hums. It's more like a low growl, really. Yes, well, the Earth hums too. The Earth has a tonal resonance between 2 and 7 millihertz. And just reference of where that is on the larger scale of things, human consciousness in beta state, which is what most people tend to operate at as an active state of attention, is somewhere between 10 to 30 hertz. The alpha state, which is then lower, which is like half a dream state, is 10 down to 7 hertz. Then from 7 down to 5 is theta state, which is light sleep, and then from 5 down to 0.1 hertz, 100 millihertz, and lower down, which is delta state, which is deep sleep. And then below delta is trans state, which is below 100 millihertz, getting down to 50 and 20 and lower, is the transcendental meditation like monks in Tibet and other sorts of monastic traditions. So keep in mind the lower levels of human consciousness is in the upper bands where the Earth hums in its own internal frequencies. And of course, above beta state, once you get above 30 hertz, you go into 40 and 50, which are assumed to be high telekinesis and other sorts of mental psychic abilities. And then you get up into 60 hertz, which is where you begin to hear tones. That's low-level bass. Then you go all the way up to thousands of hertz until you blend into the UHF spectrum.
I don't think Marcus knows that stuff, Erok. Sonic 2 vanished with
This is a stage. They have people or patients, whatever, perform.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Dixmont was a shit. It was probably about as healthy as it could get. If you're a crazy person.
They have like communities, like Mary was talking about now, that are like self-sustainable for like people that can't function in our fucked up society.
Like you and me?
Yeah, but I don't think we'd function in their society either. But although it sounds really cool, like they're totally self-sustainable and like people working on the farm and little communities.
Yeah.
So they have performances here?
Yeah, they used to. I mean, that's what the stage was for.
Pieces of it still here. Somebody's unfinished project. Pieces of the Big Ben puzzle.
Whoa! Very interesting. So what did your light look like? It's kind of a light blue color. It looks like a star. Like if you were to look up in the sky at night, it's like that, except it's in a jar in a room.
Sorry. Didn't know you were here.
That's so cool! We need thousands of them for the streets, then we won't have to have light posts. Would that solve the electricity problem? Not directly. Sonoluminescence kicks off a lot of electromagnetic activity, but most of it is not in the light spectrum that we tend to deal with. Now, using a type of chemical called fluorescein, which is a dye that fluoresces in the visible light spectrum in the presence of this particular bandwidth of radiation. You can dope the water that sonoluminescence occurs in, and you can produce a visible light spectrum to the human eye. Of course, whenever you do that, it does tend to light a rather large area, but it's questionable for the amount of input energy that goes into the reaction that the output of light is any more efficient. It just happens to be a very unique and special process of producing light. There are a couple different groups that are attempting to use the process of nuclear fusion involved in sonoluminescence in order to produce high-efficiency fuels like pure hydrogen. It's kind of on the edge of scientific vogue right now. It's getting skeptical support because few people have the grasp of what the exact process that's happening is. People know that it's something having to do with compression, that the bubble of air that's in the water seems to compress continually, and every time it compresses, it emits light. But how and why that occurs is uncertain to most scientists. Hey, I want to tell you a story. I was actually going to write about this as its own article for the Street Ratbag, but here it fits, so... Me and my friend were hitchhiking back from North Carolina, and we got dropped off in West Virginia, and it was dusk, and we were on the beautiful mountain road, curvy highway, and we're thinking, we are never going to get picked up here. And then finally, just as the night was to turn pitch black, this man in a minivan picks us up. Hooray! We start talking, and it turns out he has the cure for cancer in the back of his car, and he travels all over teaching different doctors and folks how to use it. Is it radionics? Zach! Down. Down. Down!
Ew, sexual. We just said down, down, down. Stop! You're scaring me.
Yeah, watch your head.
Watch your head.
Ken.
Let me get
All
my
right,
flash.
hold on, I gotta take here.
Wait a minute, Zach, while Ken switches his tape.
Is this the tunnel?
Yeah.
get some light over here.
Furnace room.
Yeah, he said he had cancer and the machine cured him. The way Ed explained it was that every living organism has an electric frequency, and if you match the frequency, then you can kill it? Well, yeah, you can cause resonant dissolution. If you have a waveform, a pure sine wave that oscillates from positive to negative in a regular sinusoidal pattern, if you could produce a sine wave that's 180 degrees out of phase with it, it would go from negative to positive in a pure sinusoidal pattern. So if you add those two waves together, they are going to produce a flat line of white noise, a zero. So the point is that if you can take and produce an exact opposite, an inverted wave match to the wave that you are trying to get to, you can null out and ultimately destroy a disharmonic wave pattern that exists within a larger wave matrices like the human body.
How long did you hang out before you got caught?
He didn't hang very long. He was like an hour. He didn't really get caught. He was seen by the security guard. A baby. He was in an SUV with a big spot.
Was he part of the Russian army?
Probably. Maybe it was Russian army saw by the security guard.
It probably was Russian.
Isn't there an area with like tracks on the floor?
Yeah.
What's the bait? I don't know what they do with it.
I thought it was coal cars at one point, but I don't think that they ever really burned coal up here. I mean,
My aunt used to work up here. She said a lot of the tunnels were used to move laundry.
okay, I can believe that.
What else did your aunt tell you, Ron?
That's all she told me, really.
That's all she told you of this
She didn't
place.
tell me much about the place.
The tunnel's sick.
They used to push laundry and food up through the tunnels from the road or something. I don't know. Like, I don't remember much of what she told me. She didn't work here for very long. She did it when she was a teenager.
Your aunt, that's a nun that lives here.
No, my other aunt was an Andrew.
She's the one married to the communist?
No.
Careful when you come in here.
Careful.
There's pipes and things hanging down.
There's pipes hanging. Whoa.
That's the safe.
Oh, wow.
Oh, awesome. Have you been in there, or is it locked permanently?
Yeah, I've got around through the back. It's a pretty safe company.
It's
No,
Dixmont.
up on the top it says Dixmont Hospital.
So what is that?
It was the safe that they kept drugs and other dangerous things in, quote unquote.
Handgun?
No, not as far as I can tell. There's no built-in shelves that are put in there, so it was all pretty light construction stuff. And like all the shelving and everything in there couldn't have really held anything more heavy than, a few pounds. And probably, you'd have kept bottles of, morphine.
Did you
Things
figure
like
out
that.
if they kept the place for like in case there was like a riot or anything on the ground or anything?
No, there's definitely nothing of that sort in here.
He said his machine could cure AIDS, and you would find the frequency of the virus and type it into this machine and you hook up to it. Essentially, it would take all the blood out of your body, send it through a machine, and put it back in. It could kill any kind of cancer. Radionics is very, very illegal in this country.
As far as I can tell from the history of the patients didn't really riot. It was a much healthier institution. There wasn't any sort of crazy that went on. Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Here are the tracks.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I wanted to mention.
Cute.
Could have been laundry carts.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was telling us all these stories of doctors' houses being raided, thrown into jail, all sorts of harassment. It's because in this country you are not allowed to treat people medically and say that you can help them unless you are approved by the FDA. And that's kind of an old kickback from the miracle tonics of the 1800s when people would go around saying, we have the miracle cure, and of course it just had cocaine in it so people felt happy and then they died. There are semi-good reasons for why this stuff occurs, but nevertheless radionics is highly unaccepted because it involves energetic wave models of the human body, and it uses waveforms to treat people. Sony was doing research on this, and they're not allowed to talk about it. Unfortunately, it just doesn't seem to be where the world is right now.
I probably would have been more scared in this place when it was operational. You know, like really big hospitals and stuff.
Is everybody keeping close? Get behind?
Yeah, it can't really like. Crop dusters.
All these beautiful.
Hey, we're just back where we came from, aren't we? I noticed because of this doorway here.
Yeah.
Electrical.
Trying to make sure I have proper bearing, because we can either go outside and go down a way that I know that we can get in there,
Okay.
or we can go down here, which I'm pretty sure now that I've seen where we were is the right way,
But not absolutely sure.
not absolutely sure. But there's a numbering scheme. I should have put it out. We'll walk.
Yeah, I have been noticing the numbers and getting shots of them.
Yeah. This numbering scheme is how they found their way around down here. And I haven't entirely figured it out yet, but somehow, if you knew the numbers, it describes the dimensions down
We're
here.
in lower numbers now. It got up into the hundreds, if I recall correctly, heading in the direction that we just came from.
He was saying one reason for the opposition was that the hospitals wouldn't make any money. Well, there is the continual, I didn't even want to say conspiracy theory because it's a good economic point, but yeah, if you can cure people immediately, they don't come back. So you don't have an economic model. Hospitals have business models which operate around the continual administration of drugs to a patient over time. It's really shady because it doesn't deal with immediately treating and making a person healthy. It deals with a plan for health which involves chemical medicine, and that's okay if you want to live a chemical lifestyle. It seems to be able to keep people around for 80 or 90 years, but it's not something that many people seem to be comfortable with. Basically, you're living with your doctor as a priest. The radionics communities, the orgone communities, even getting into energy practitioners like yoga, tai chi, any sort of massage therapy, any progressive therapy which involves a holistic energetic model for the human body is not accepted by the degree-granting medical community of the United States. I have seen enough cases of people dealing with cancer in alternative fashions to have a good suspicion that cancer is not a virus invading the body, it's probably something else.
And I'm thinking that the lower numbers are more towards the beginning of the underground area, but
What's your name?
oh, go check out that room over there. Go in there and take a left and look in there. See the windows in here?
Yeah.
There's other rooms that are like these,
Look at all these
where there's
bags.
benches in here. And as far as you can tell, there's places where patients who weren't allowed to go outside
It's all real
come in
hard.
here and sit and get daylight. You know what I mean? No, not one of them that's down here is kind of set up like a chapel, sort of. You know, like a religious space.
What down
The
here?
pipes in the ceiling.
Did you say this was a religious space?
There's some specialties from the previous story. You can get high off of it.
What did? What kind of religious space?
Well, I mean, just like a place that, and like one of them, like I said, seemed a lot like a chapel, like some place that patients could go and pray. Whatever building area, but I mean,
For like water?
yeah, water or sewage or something. But the point is, like, there's no metal in them, at least as far as I can really tell. They're just entirely constructed out of big, you know, like long strips of wood that have been glued together into a circle to form a pipe.
Can you say that again? Sorry.
That's all good. I mean, they're wooden pipes, you know? Like the long strips of wood that have been glued together in a circle, you know, with metal bands going around them to secure them together. And I mean, they originally ran sewage or water or something, but it's just totally archaic. I mean, you know, wooden pipes.
These days they'd be replaced by PVC or metal or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, anything else is
Kind of
just,
smell it.
it's like that took a lot of work to make basic piping. And it's a rather, you know, interesting notion. Sure, one day people will look back and be like, they used wires to communicate with. They used to send signals down them. It's crazy. If there's a tornado, patients were all piled in there.
Freaky.
These were tornado tunnels. There was also the primary fire accident, I think, too. If there was ever a fire in the building, the patients would have been brought down here and tunneled out. There was also the primary fire accident, I think, too. If there was ever a fire in the building, the patients would have been brought down here and tunneled out.
What do you think it is? Well, most of the models revolve around the fact that there is some sort of energetic disharmoniance in the body. Most of them would also then push that ultimately what's happening is that the person is blocking their own energetic field in some way psychologically, because mental states are reflecting the energetic field of the body, which is a very prudent state. So if there is something going on in your head which makes you unhappy, then psychosomatically it reflects to your body, begins to manifest as an illness. The problem isn't treating the illness in your body, it's treating the psychological illness that's wrong in your head.
We could have stayed inside to get the tunnel tonight, but, well, maybe I shouldn't have. That's probably more of a pain in the ass than when I fuck with.
I think we can get through there. I'm just wondering whether we've lost people or not.
Bring it up because there's a sword.
Jaggers! Oh yeah, for you people from outside of the Pittsburgh area, we call these things jaggers. These are called jaggers. You see, they're these thorny things, and
Is it like the Rolling Stones?
no, it's like jaggers. I never knew until very recently that wasn't a word that was used there, or wasn't a word that was used in other parts of the country. It's totally a regional specific term for this plant and plants like it. I mean, this might be
Any plant with thorns,
any
probably.
plant with things like this would be called a jagger.
This is one of the main entrances to the tunnel proper, and getting lots of people involved in putting something in here. I'm hoping to be able to get this all dug away so people can just walk in here.
Rita is editing out a lively discussion about environmental racism, community resistance to polluters, and fight or flight mentality, which brings us to the Amish. The Amish have no money as a general rule of thumb, but you don't see big companies going into Amish land, which is some of the most beautiful and fertile land that we have around. But yet the Amish don't get their homes beat down. They don't have to fight off big companies.
So what are you gonna have people paint in here, or are you gonna put objects in here, or
Whatever you want to put in here. Because whenever the demolition begins, they're going to seal with concrete all of these entrances here.
So this is one of the areas where things would actually happen, or we...
This is the primary area. I mean, this is a
Yeah.
quarter mile this way and this way, up to the main buildings and down to the power plant. And this connects to the main buildings too. I just
So-
didn't take us in that way.
Can we go all the way to one end and then all the way to the other? Or
Yeah,
is there-
it's probably more footage than you have.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but yeah, go on.
Is it relatively unchanging?
Actually, let's go down to the power plant first because we can't get out through the power plant. We'll have to come back up. So we can go to the other end on the way out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is all pretty much unchanging. Salvagers have cut away some of the piping in different areas. You do have to watch your head in here. There's a lot, like, there's shit that hangs low. If you stay against the left wall, though, you're generally pretty safe.
How is that? Do they have some deal? Oh, isn't that interesting? I've done some research into the Amish, but it's rather hard. Amish don't seem to pay taxes, and I'm not sure I can say I know exactly how that happens. It seems to be a very carefully constructed legal framework within the U.S., and most people don't get to touch it for one reason or another. It's called allodial land rights and pure trusts. Allodial land rights were the original land rights system set up in the U.S., and pure trusts were a concoction of the Rockefeller and Rothschild foundations in order to secure assets without taxation.
But all the walls here are concrete. It's all just like poured slab. And as far as I can tell, they probably poured like an 8-foot section or so of the wall out of concrete and then lowered it down in and set it underground, you know?
Oh, we're going down. We're going down.
I think a homeless person would live here. Because this little area here has been cordoned off. And there's little doors so you can close it up. And right up here is the only ventilation shaft for the entire tunnel. And if you were in this area and somebody came, you know, and guards or people came from either side to try to like get you, you could climb through that tunnel and get out. So it's pretty much the best place if you're going to build a, you know, a home out of any part of the tunnel. You'd do it here.
if you were the mini bar, we're gonna eat beef came inside. This is where you would live. How far down? Very far.
And this leads to where?
Power plant.
Well, it was uphill too.
Well, uphill goes all the way back up to the main buildings, you know?
Yeah.
And all the way at the other end of the tunnel, there is a pair of stairs that go up to a door that's on the ground level. And that may be how end up having people come in. Just because you can walk in the door, you know, come down the stairs and then walk as far down the tunnel as you want all the way down to the power plant.
Can you drill into the cement?
Nope. You need a masonry drill.
Do you have one of those, Tim?
No.
Amish people have those things. As far as I can tell, the Amish have maintained and retained the allodial land rights for their property. Allodial land rights are free of fees, which is the original form of taxation. The word comes from allodium, which is Greek for free ownership. A king would have sovereign rights to their land, which meant that they owned everything that they could see. The people living on the land didn't actually own it because the king could see it. So a person living on the land, a serf, could pay a fee for their land. It was the fee they had to pay for living on the land so the king would profit. Whenever people came to the United States, they didn't want fees, and that was part of the reason for leaving, not so much the religious thing. The freedom of religion was part of it because the king was religious and said God gave him his right to have sovereign control over the land. So there was no taxation or fees on land originally. I haven't figured out exactly at what point it all started, but there was a point when banks got involved somehow, economic framings. Once people got involved with banks, everything switched to deeds. In order to transfer a piece of land from one to another, you had to prove that you owned the land. Apart from just saying, I own it because I live on it and I can make sure you can't come on it or something, there wasn't any real proof of ownership. As soon as proof of ownership came around, you got into a legal contract with someone, which was generally political factors which structured economics. So you got back to business in one form or another. Businesses at the higher levels were banks. So you got into titles, which turned into deeds, because deeds were a transferable title in the banking system, which had to be marketable so you could sell those things. Then you could apply a value to land, and then you had land tax. Have you tried going out through the hatches?
Yes, you can, or at least most of them. I mean, some of them have been covered over, some of them are bolted down.
That one looked like something you might be able to get out of, the one that we just passed.
Yeah, there's also, watch your head right up here. This is the only shady part of the tunnel, really. There's this big valve that sort of sticks right out for you to smash your head off. Yeah, one of the access shafts that's right around here, I'm not exactly sure where, it's probably the one you just mentioned, is one of the best ones to go out of.
Are these wooden pipes?
No. These are all metal.
Did you see what that graffiti said you were?
Jesus, what is it?
I didn't see it.
It's something Jesus from
But like these pipes, I'm trying to figure out something what to do with these pipes. Like if you look at the top two, they're about a foot in diameter once you get past this outer layer of insulation. And each section is about 8 to 10 feet long. And there's a quarter mile of each one of them. Now that's a lot of metal. Like, I don't know what you do with that. You'd need probably a crane to move it all anyway. But, it's like, even just in raw metal, that's tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And that would be something that could just utilize it.
Yeah. Or you could scrap it. I mean,
but after you pull it all out of here, strip the insulation off, and then truck it to somewhere to scrap, probably wouldn't work.
yeah.
I mean, there was I remember there was a steel plant that was getting torn down about 15 years or so ago. One of my dad's friends was involved in salvaging stuff out of the place.
Yeah.
And there was a mill, like a big blade technique in there, that weighed, I think, 6 tons or something. And it was just like, it was a raw but working machine. And they were trying to scrap it for the raw steel. And it wasn't worth it to haul it out of an easily accessible building. Take it to a scrapyard and scrap. It's like they couldn't recoup the cost. So I was imagining that it would be more scrapping despite it.
Yeah, it should be like mandatory that stuff gets scrapped though. And like we shouldn't have to worry about how much it costs.
Whoa, super intense. And there's reason why I've been paying attention to the Amish. There is something strange that goes on there. They've somehow managed to get out of most of what goes on in the country. There aren't water lines or power lines on Amish lands. They're off the grid 100%. Now it's interesting, some Amish actually do have cell phones. Some Amish have wind turbines that generate power. It's not that they don't use electricity and technology, they're just very, very, very careful with how they incorporate it. And I think that's the key thing. They're not Luddite. Many would be considered to be Luddite. Also, a reason why they don't have utilities and such is because if you have allodial land rights to your property, then utility companies have absolutely no say as to what goes on that property. If you have a deed to your property, the government can still come and do shady things. They can seize it under eminent domain. Utility properties can come onto your property without your permission in order to secure and make safe their lines.
Wow.
Whoa.
This is the area of the tunnel that like I have any sort of warning things about, and this is the main area that like I have lots of liability stuff to worry about in terms of doing anything here. It's like, because if you walk out here, you walk out there, you fall and die, sort of thing, you know? So.
Oh, there's a train going by, Ted.
This is where the tape recorder cuts off. Fascinating interview, eh? There was further discussions about why the Native Americans don't have allodial land rights. He mentioned that there were about 8 cases where people sued the government on the grounds of allodial land rights and directed me to a speech written by Chief Seattle. Chief Seattle, an hereditary leader of the Suquamish tribe, was born around 1786, passed away on June 7, 1866, and is buried in the tribal cemetery at Suquamish, Washington. The speech Chief Seattle recited during treaty negotiations in 1854 is regarded as one of the greatest statements ever made concerning the relationship between a people and the earth.
But
Look at it fly.
this is the power plant. If you want to go down the ladder and check it out, we can, you know.
Yeah, let's do it.
Be careful.
Oh wait, that's really funny. Ted, you should film this. Look at a speech bubble. It says, I'm insane.
Look at it insane. I'm gonna have to get in a different position.
Get out of your way. I don't have any.
Let me get where you are, Ken.
Clean!
Clean!
Clean! Clean!
Okay.
Are you going down there? Yeah, I'm going to see where I can go down carrying this camera at the same time.
You want some help? I don't want you to fall, baby.
I won't fall, but I will have to.
Do I put that in my bag or anything?
No. It'll be interesting
I can
trying to
hold
get a
it.
shot. No, it's connected
Okay.
by a wire
Okay,
to me,
okay.
so you can't do that.
Unfreeze my hand here.
And watch out, your feet are probably muddy, which makes this slippery. So be careful. Make sure you get your feet on here good.
Did you get down the shot?
Yeah.
The shot will be fairly useless because the camera lens was about an inch away from the wall most of the time.
Watch out for the pits, everybody. Souvenir?
Something. Unknown device. Unknown component for unknown tools.
Does it have screw holes in it?
No, it doesn't. It almost looks like an aluminum gasket,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
you know? But I can't imagine a scenario where aluminum would be a proper gasket. So,
So you have salvage rights to all this stuff?
basically,
What are you gonna do with it?
probably nothing. Like, what in the world could
Where
I
you
do
gonna-
with this?
Where are you gonna store that?
Exactly.
In your apartment.
I mean, there's some wonderful stuff here, and I just couldn't even begin to decide what to do with a lot of it. The air compressor over there can probably still be salvaged, probably still works. And it's a dual two-stroke air compressor.
Oh, this is where you wanted
So-
to have your.
I wanted to turn this, before I had any notion of doing Dixmont Time Capsule Tunnel project, I originally wanted to get this building, and I wanted to turn it into like an art space, venue, maybe cafe type of thing. I mean, there's catwalks up here. It's like, you could have DJ stands up on these catwalks, people spinning, you know, like you could have tables down here for like a cafe type of thing. And originally I had wanted to clear out a large area, probably this one up in here, and I'd wanted to build a water funnel that was at least up to the first area of rafters before the ceiling has its diagonal. And I wanted to build about a 2-story water funnel so that you could walk up to it. You know, the primary area would be about 1.5 feet wide or so. You get that big sort of curving piece of open space air in the center, you know, that'd be about yay wide.
Cool. Can I have these? They're like faucet things. I love it. I love it. I like these gas cages. I love how the plants grow. It's like, fuck you. It's like, fuck you technology.
Here's a diesel wheelchair.
Hardly any pictures left.
One of my favorite words.
Love them. I found it.
There's more of these meter readings in there. These are humidity, moisture, static sensors for the plant, as well as pressure and everything else that would be measured, you know, in the boilers. Kind of looks like Erok.
Ten Commandments of Safety.
Obey the 10 commandments of safety. Think safety and act safety at all times. Obey safety.
Safety's a fascist.
Whoa. That's that sink scene better days. It's kind of.
Worth something someday.
Yeah.
So,
These were rare.
do you have any
10?
last minute things you want to say? Because I've got about 3 or 4 minutes left on the tape, I think.
Not offhand. I mean,
Okay.
nothing more about the space in particular, you know?
I think
Everything else I've sent you.
Yeah, I think I'll just take a walk on the catwalk for now. Be careful, peeps. We're going up the catwalks. Oh well, my tape just ran out. Oh. Too bad. Well, does anybody want to go out to breakfast before we have to go to our respective jobs?
Yeah, there's an Eaton Park on the way back.
Okay, let's go to Eaton Park. It's a little bit before 11.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's it?
We going back. That staircase, well, we could go down that way.
Erok!
Yeah.
Can I put this? I found a lot more of that paper.
Okay.
Can I put it in your backpack
Of course.
before we go down the steps?
Yes.
Oh, wait. There's no, the
No.
other staircase is
The
back.
easiest way to get out is
Yeah.
Staircase
over here, past, yeah.
Forward.
Dude, I can take so many pictures here.
I shot.
There's so much more.
I shot 3 rolls just when I was in here.
There's so much more. Like I feel like we need to get it on.
Oh, there's not.
It's all in that room. It's just like in the back.
Oh, it's lockers.
There's a letterpress out.
Hey, Zach, if you get down in there,
Yeah.
is there like
It's just like regular
those lockers?
There seems to be more storage.
Be careful when you get to the end of the steps here because it goes to the pit. The bad inmates.
So are they gonna tear? They're gonna tear down the power plant too? Nope, unfortunately. So what are you? How are you gonna actually take this stuff out of here, or just?
No, I mean, for the most part, just because I wouldn't even know what to do with most of this, you know? It's like some of this, there's some neat stuff here. I'll probably end up salvaging a lot of these little valve handles and whatnot just because they're kind of neat, you know?
They are neat.
And I might
Actually, you dump stuff down in here.
if you have contact.
It comes out.
It comes
pulverized.
out.
I do. For Dr. Evermore?
Yeah.
I mean, because if he wants to come out and take stuff, I'll
No,
work with him.
he probably wouldn't.
Yeah, he's
got
pretty
his-
old.
He lives right next to a salvage yard, which I think he must have founded or whatever, and he's got unbelievable quantities of huge things. But he's the kind of guy who could actually take something like this and do something with it.
Make it.
But he's also probably in
Yeah,
his
he's
60s or
old.
whatever and doesn't feel like doing things like that anymore. And the Forevertron is an incredible thing.
I'll show you pictures if you ever come over.
So, you say we can't get out from this building?
No, you can't just walk out. All the doors are bolted and barred.
Because there was an open window over there that we could potentially go out. It's a little
What do you
skinny,
mean? You
though.
mean, oh, that, yeah. I mean, if you want to try to go at it, but it's, you know.
It's definitely pretty small.
We can
Yeah.
just walk
Okay.
back.
All right, we'll walk back.
I mean, because we can go out one of the access chutes in here. So, yeah.
You want me to carry something?
No, it's all right.
Is the battery seem to be working and everything?
Yeah, the battery's great.
Okay.
The
I just wanted to make sure because I thought,
Just be careful when you go up this because I'm definitely leaving a lot of mud on the run.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been known to drive inmates wild.
We got the groundhog's view.
May 25 to 26.
That's when it's gonna be closed, or?
And who was bashing his way out through the back of the closet in the school, shouting the whole time, "You'll never lock me in the closet again! You'll never lock me in the closet again!" And bashing through the wall with a pipe. It was a pretty intense, emotional moment that was obviously referring to the personal history. It's a pretty big sewage treatment thing just for the hospital.
Yeah, well, this is the control building for the sewage treatment plant stuff, which is on the septic and everything else.
I have a friend in Delaware who worked for a sewage treatment plant, a big one for his area, and he just entered at a very low-level position, and the guy who was the head of the sewage treatment plant decided to retire, and nobody wanted to take over the job because it was such a shitty job. So he immediately ended up being the head of the sewage treatment plant. I've always wanted to do a kind of sleazy film festival there,